Good morning.
Hey, it's David.
Hey, took a while.
Yeah, sorry. All right, so the angle for the story is going to be it's going to be how the play connects to CBS, like the actors and the actors who are from CBS, how that connects to the school, like what they get out of it. But before then, I'm just gonna probably add some background information. So should I start?
Um,
Uh,
yeah, go for it.
yeah. Okay. So the first question is, uh, how did you come up with this idea? What was your inspiration in the beginning to start with this?
So the original idea, it's really an annoying sound by the way, but
Sorry, what?
I think it's for me it was really about making sure that I brought theater. I did theater in Amsterdam, and basically what that meant was that I was sort of missing it when I came to the Copenhagen Business School, and I was someone I'm someone who likes to do it so much that I was sort of really annoying. I got to hear myself echo.
Okay.
Basically, I liked it so much that I really missed it, and I wanted to start it here. And I also knew that there were some people who felt like me. You know, I talked about theater a lot, and some people just responded like, "Yeah, I wish we had that here." And it was also the fact that you had people who were very good at like marketing and running an organization basically. And that combination, meant that you could really market something cool, and you also had to write good performers. And as a director, my vision is sort of that you don't need people with a lot of experience if you direct them well. There's also a learning component involved in rehearsals, and that's very much what CBS theater is. It's just a long rehearsal cycle in which there's a lot of improv and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Um, okay. And how did it all begin? Like, what was kind of the process in the beginning? What were some of the challenges you were facing?
I think the challenge that we were facing was that nobody knew about it. So at CBS, there's just so much noise. I feel there's so many organizations, and it had never been there, right? So a lot of it was just communicating that we existed, because we had around 30 people audition, which was a lot. But after a huge push, after a lot of effort, a lot of posting in the different groups, because there's really there's so many organizations trying to get out there that it's kind of hard to reach the student body. So I just knew that there was a percentage of students who would be up for doing this. Because it was so different, it was so unique compared to the other organization. And the work that you did with it is, you create a production, a product, a thing. And what I think helped with that, is the fact that we had that experience. We were sort of mostly marketing people, so starting it early on. Sorry, I'm so distracted by the echo. So that was the biggest challenge, just reaching the right a number. Like if you reach 5,000 people and maybe like 10% would be sort of interested, to hear more about it. Then it's fine, but we couldn't reach that number of people, even though we knew that the people that we reached were like, oh, that's cool. That should be at CBS, right? So that was the challenge in the beginning, just reaching enough people so that we could find enough good performers and enough good people on the production side.
Mm-hmm. And did you hear any criticism from anyone, like why is this at CBS? This doesn't belong here, or anything like that?
You mean objections or?
Yeah, I mean, just like did anybody question it? Like, what is it? Does this really belong in a business school, or?
No, not at all. That's what that's the interesting thing, right? Like everyone was like, oh yeah, that is something that does make sense, and that should maybe be there. Because my attitude towards, sometimes I feel like it's so compartmentalized, right? Like people feel that CBS like it's people studying to be management consultants, to put it very sort of bluntly. But there are so many different ways in which you can use that sort of knowledge of how to run an effective organization, which I think is at the heart of CBS. Every degree is sort of an aspect of that. And there's also like people who might want to work in the entertainment industry, working on the intersection of art, entertainment and art and business, and like reinvent the business models there, right? And especially if you're talking about theater, sort of the extreme of that, because the way it usually works is like it's very conservative, and it sort of blocks not just the way the theater is marketed and the way theater organizations are run, but also the creativeness of the product itself. And sometimes you get productions that might be super, super good, well rehearsed, good actors, there's good chemistry. But if then there's no audience, it hasn't succeeded as a production. So you need both. You need that combination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's really what CBS Theater is about. So that people who like creative industries, like arts, either, to manage it, on the production side, to figure out how that works, or to act in it. I think that's really what's sort of my idea, right? And if you look at acting, it's really about communication, about, power, for example. A lot of theater scenes are just power dynamics, basically. That's the core of what they are. And then you also have, other than that, you have the fact that, when you do a presentation, you're also acting. You're putting yourself into a different version of yourself that you're presenting that you normally, that you talk with your best friend. So acting is something that really touches upon the core of communication, like how to communicate clearly, how to communicate powerfully, how to adjust your communication to different situations. So as someone myself who, likes acting and likes business, I felt like they reinforced each other a lot. And that's sort of my vision for how CBS Theater should work. And I had a lot of experience, with productions that I was in acting in the Netherlands and producing in the Netherlands. It's like non-profit stuff, but still. And then I also did, in the Netherlands, I did film, I did some films and television stuff, especially as a young kid. So that's sort of my background in it, that I as a very young age, fell in love with it. I just always kept doing it, just next to things. So I didn't go to acting school, but I was still acting, I was directing plays at my university, right? And for me, that was also always a really nice way of doing it, because I had diverse interests, I also wanted to learn the stuff that I learned in my CBS degree. But I really missed theater when I was not doing it. And, just the response that we got showed that it was right. Whenever we talked to someone about it, there was so much enthusiasm, and like, yeah, that should be there, and it's so good for business, to have people learn how to act and really communicate. I feel like there's so many presentations and oral exams, and never really any good way of teaching that. And even though it's not our focus at all, we don't really offer like that type of public speaking training or anything within CBS Theater. It's just like they could see the connection between the two.
Okay.
So I spoke for a long time. Are you still?
Yeah, I'm still awake. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was a really good answer, man. Okay. So what? On that note, why is it so important that the whole production is, more professional as opposed to, just doing it for fun?
Well, that's really it has a lot to do with me, you know, how, sorry? Did you speak or am I just hearing myself?
Are you hearing?
Okay. I think it has a lot to do with, to answer your question, it's really both. Wait, sorry, just repeat it. I'm distracted by the echo again.
Sorry?
Could you just repeat the question? Because I'm just got distracted by the echo.
Yeah, so the question was, why is it important for the production to be professional? Why isn't it just, you know, for fun or?
Because, yeah, that's it's sort of the vision that I had when starting it, that like it wouldn't, you know, it needed to be that level, you know, it needed to be really good, otherwise, you know, it's going to be, not many people are going to come. I felt, you know, we had that challenge that no one knew about it, that we were completely new, that we were also selling ourselves. So that was sort of just sheer need, you know, otherwise, because you spend so much time in it, right? Like, we rehearsed every week for basically 6 hours, and then there was, you know, there's live rehearsal, there's me preparing, there's the producers running around and doing all sorts of stuff. So the time that you invest in it is so much that for me the vision is it could only be that much if it's really, really good. And I, as the director, see sort of that as my role to maintain that standard. And that has been a challenge, right? Because some people step into this organization feeling like it's just like any other student organization. It's a side commitment. It's something that I can relate to if I have to do something else, right? It's something that I can step out of. So that was really my challenge, that, you know, if you step out of a play, like, you know, recasting has to be done. Another person has to know your lines. Basically, there's so much wastage. So there has to be that sort of professional attitude. And that's really difficult, right? It's really important so that people feel that. You can't just say it. You can't just say, this organization requires more of a commitment for you and you'll get back a lot from it as well, though. You have to show that, you know, consistently. So that's why we do so much with video, just so the actors get that idea, yeah, this is going to be really, really good. Get excited, you know, start sharing more stuff.
Cool. All right. And so, and how come you didn't end up continuing a career in acting or in the creative industries? Or I don't know, are you continuing in
you know, I'm 23 now, right? So, you know, whatever I might end up doing later, right now I'm working for a cybersecurity artificial intelligence company. Whatever I might end up doing later, I'll always be doing theater. You know, maybe at some point I will do it full time, maybe when I'm a little older. A lot of, for example, directing degrees are not, for example, the best ones in RADA, in my opinion, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is in London. They typically hire people of around 30, 31, right? People who have had a life, you know, who have stories to tell. Because that's what you're doing as a director. So for me, that's sort of also a reason for starting CBS Theater, or it's really part of my mentality behind it, that I don't believe in like set career paths. I hate that. Like in the Netherlands, you know, you do science and culture and stuff, and you're sort of judged, okay, that means you're good at this. But I feel like humans are so much more complex, not just in their brains, but in their personalities. And we should be a little bit more like, you know, in the Renaissance when there was this concept called Homo Universalis, right? That you develop yourself in all aspects. You know, science, art, it was all intertwined. And that's also sort of how I view life. Like, you know, you can have multiple interests. You don't have to specialize per se. You can do one thing at some stage in your life, and then you might want to have another experience. Why do you want to do the same thing all your life? So to summarize, sort of, I'm not sure. Maybe I will do it at some point in the future, but I also really enjoy doing it this way. Mm-hmm. And I really like doing doing the business stuff as well. I'm really excited about the new job that I just got. Yeah, so for me, it makes sense for it to coexist for now, and I'm keeping my options open for the future.
Yeah.
But maybe not put that in there that explicitly in case my company reads it.
No, don't worry. You get to review. You get to review your quotes. You can review your quotes.
Sorry, what?
You can review your quotes, so you can look through it and make sure everything is okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, you pick and choose whatever you choose.
Yeah. Okay. And have you, during job interviews, have you brought up these points with companies? Like, have they seen
Oh,
that?
yeah. It was a big factor for my current job. Like, they're really nice about it. I'm actually taking a week off to direct the play now for my full-time job. Just to finish directing it, because I have to start in this month. And the play is in 2 weeks, right? So I'm sort of juggling both right now. And they were like, they were looking for people who had interests, not even anything specific, not we're looking for people who like fishing or who like acting even, but, we're passionate about stuff. And I think, they really got that sense from me that I was that. And they also said, the ability to tell a story is extremely valuable anywhere. So that was basically their response.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. And okay, last question. So what are your future goals for this organization? How do you see it in the next couple of years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'd like to keep running it, sort of the idea is now more and more becoming professionals or people who are not necessarily current CBS students, sort of providing a professional, cool framework for CBS students to gain this kind of experience, and also other students. We're very open in who we take on. It's just on the production side, we always aim to have CBS students. Just because that's the idea, right? Part of the idea is that they can get that experience in applying their knowledge to theater. So I guess the idea is to keep having these annual performance at least, and maybe also try doing something smaller for Christmas, so to have shorter, more intense rehearsal cycle. And I guess I'll still be doing it next year, but I'm also very open if I come across someone who has a lot of experience and who is passionate about directing, then maybe at some point I'll just transfer it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for now it's really about, I want to keep it going. I don't want it to collapse, and I know that if I step out now, also because it's sort of the way I lead it, is sort of a tight ship. I know that it would. Oh, okay.
Sorry, you were just saying that the whole production is kind of like a ship, and that you were thinking that without you right now.
Yeah, but I don't want to come off as this huge egomaniac at all, right?
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not gonna make you sound like a.
But it's more like what I want to express with that is that directing is something that is really a lot of experience, and especially now we've set a really high standard, right? So that's the difficult thing. It's a challenge to eventually transition, to change the director.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it should remain as it is, as a platform for professionals, an open platform for professionals and CBS students to come together, with the promotion mainly targeted towards CBS students. So that it's most for and by CBS students, but open also to others, and having professionals in there to keep the quality up.
Mm-hmm. So how do you, okay, sorry, just one last question. So how are you planning to make that transition? Do you have any plans on how to pass that knowledge on, or to select someone who could take over?
I'm not sure if we should, I don't know, that's the thing. I'm not sure if that's nice to put in there.
Okay, then let's not. Okay, that's fine. Then let's not talk about it.
It's more like, I really don't know, because it's hard to come across someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would make sense for it to be someone linked to CBS in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping to find someone naturally, to have someone come up to me after one of our shows, perhaps, and then say, express that sort of passion, that type of real fire, and then maybe have a smaller production with them and see how they do. And yeah, something like that. That would be my vision, I guess, if I had to pick an approach.
All right. Okay. I think that was good.
Right, with the marketing ship that we run. Because often even in professional theater, that's a challenge. That's something that people are not necessarily very good at, especially in today's technology, like posting on how to optimally use social media. That's something that we get right, I feel, that helped us sell out our first production for this completely new organization. And then the CBS students, the starting actors, they learn so much from these older actors, and they express what we do here is so different from anything I do anywhere else, right? It's such unique learning, and I'm really learning about myself. I'm not picking up a specific skill, but I'm just developing myself. I'm getting to know different sides of myself through this acting process. And that's a beautiful thing. That's really the core of what I actually wanted to talk about.
Okay, yeah, if you have time
that's vision for the organization as well.
Yeah, if you have time,
right?
then
yeah, I'm just trying to eat at the same time. It's for me, it's about that. That's the beauty of it. That's why I'm gonna try to keep doing it even with this new job, because it's just so inspiring. Like that type of. One sec. There's just too much food. It's just super inspiring to see that, to see sort of this almost cross dissemination of knowledge and of passion. So that's why it's also difficult to find someone who can follow up on that, because you need someone who can embrace both sides and is good at both sides. So maybe that's for me to figure out, right? That it's very much tailored after how I feel about this. That I feel that it should be that people should develop both sides, and that I'm someone who is really passionate about both.
So how can you just tell me about?
It's sort of a reflection of me, and that's why I find it hard to find someone new.
And can you tell me a little bit about how?
Sorry, could you speak a little louder?
Yeah, can you tell me about how the professional actors came into the production and kind of a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So the professional actors, we did it at HIT, right? And HIT is the House of International Theater, which is English-speaking theater in Copenhagen. And they also helped with some marketing. So we had a lot of people sort of connected to there coming in. And one of the actors, he actually was there at a performance that I saw there earlier. And I just spoke to him about our production, and we sort of shared our ideas about acting and what it should be about, what our favorite plays. His name is Pajman, by the way. He'll be there on Saturday. And he's really like, I really like Greek tragedies. And I feel like it should be this and this and this way, and it should be about the core. It should not be just, parodying it too much. So we really aligned, and then we just stayed in touch, and he came to see our show. He was really impressed. Then we did a Fringe festival together. So you made a single show of like a small play with one of the others, the student actress, Christine, who is now trying to become a professional actor. So we even see that, people see Christine's first production was a big CBS theater one, and then now she's trying to be a professional. And for Pajman, like doing that small piece, that was really cool. We got a lot of acknowledgments for that, a lot of good response. And then we did this Greek tragedy. He was like, if you're ever going to do something like that, you should let me know and I'll audition. And he auditioned, he was obviously at a really, at a different level from most people that we saw, because he's a professional, he's trained. There's his job, basically. And it's for them, it's also very much a learning. It's about the roles, they do it because they like the roles. Actors act because they love it, right? And they have these ideas about what it would be like to play certain roles. So he really likes to, or parts or plays, he really wants to do a Greek tragedy in the way that we sort of both envisioned it should be done. So that's why he auditioned. And then the role of the queen, Clytemnestra, looks this classical role of like the torn mother who killed her husband, who loves her children but is ultimately destroyed by her children. It's this hugely complex, beautiful role. So I contacted several professional actresses, and all of them said that role would be amazing. All of them knew that Boeing was a big success. You know, we got a really good review in the Copenhagen Post, so they have this sort of trust towards me. It was just a matter of, you know, because they're professionals, you know, they have jobs, you know, they have other work. It was a matter of coordinating which one, how the logistics of it. And first we had someone else for Clytemnestra, actually, that was the other professional actress, Christina, who also trained. She was really good, but she had an architecture project coming up, because she works as an archaeologist, or she had to go to Greece at some point, which made her have to leave the play because of scheduling. But then she recommended someone else that she had worked with in the past. So it's really this networking thing that if you make a good production, someone has seen it, and they tell someone else about it, and they're like, oh yeah, if he has good roles like me, he can get in touch with me. And this Anastasia, she just loved the part. Like she said, it was her dream part to do something like that. And she's really cool because she's sort of like, you know, like me and like CBS Theater. Like she's also a leadership consultant, right? As well as a professional actress. So she combines both.
Oh. And do the actors?
So she's a wonderful person for you to interview as well on Saturday.
Okay. And do the actors mentor the other students, give them a lot of tips and stuff?
I'm sorry, what?
Do the other actors act as mentors as well? So do they also help the other actors?
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, for them, they accept that that's my role, sort of. But I try to encourage it more, because for them it's like the director does the directing. Like as an actor, it's unprofessional to direct others too much. But I often push them to do it because I notice how much there's learning there is, and they're very good at sort of communicating certain things. So you have to strike a balance. Of course, it has to be some sort of centralized. But they notice that I encourage them now. You know, if you want to know more about silent acting, you talk to Anastasia or talk to Bajman. Ask them how they approach that. How to get into character before a performance, right? Like rituals that you can do, little tricks. Ask them about that. And, you know, when they start doing that and, you know, the learning really takes place, that's sort of where the magic happens. And a lot of that is happening now in the last couple of weeks. David, I really have to cut it short now. But I hope you got a lot more from those last comments as well.